You know, every time I start this game, it normally asks me what time it is, and now it's asking me to adjust the brightness. So I wonder if something's up here. Yep, something is definitely up. Till the dog and cat are friends. Dude, they're so friends. So the number 5 becomes the number 9. Oh. Oh, you got me. Yeah, it's 9. Is that what it means? Until you stop adjusting the slider. Which of the two made-up words below is most appealing to you? Accuboincle or scrumptious? Scrumptious. Please don't adjust the slider. Do you know what time it is right now? Yes. Is the time that it is right now the correct time? Yes. Yes. Is there anything about yourself you haven't told me? I mean, there's a lot of things. Help? Yes. It's freaking creepy. They're trying to do like a Doki Doki thing now, and it's like weirding me out.
This
Anyways, we are back to the DLC stuff. Yeah, if you happen to hear birds in the background, I don't know if you do or not. I have the other TV on, a cat television for the cats to watch. They're like children. Anyways, moving forward.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Coffee nut. Can't stand here. Loading. I also got a bowl of oatmeal. I like oatmeal. Ow. Oh, it's still hot though.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Looks like a Dark Souls kind of thing. Whoa.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Hmm. The Memory Zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
It's crazy. I used to love watching this game when I was younger. It's like in college, and like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and all them would play it. My throat is messing up. It's not that I'm sad. I have like gunk in my throat because I just woke up. Allergies are getting to me. Oh, hello. Uh, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, Stanley Parable. What is it blocking? The Last of Us. Audience Award, the Stanley Parable 2014 Independent Games Festival. But your game came out in 2013. You won an award a year later? Collector's Edition. I want the Collector's Edition. I wonder what came with the Collector's. I think that's it in here. Like a museum. $1. I wonder if that is actually like the first cash dollar he made, and he like either took a picture of it or like actually just put the serial number on it or something. Oh, that's the demo. I've only seen the demo once. And that was when the Game Grumps played it on Steam Train. It was Danny and Ross. Go play outside, don't play for 5 years. I wonder how many people have the game from when it first came out and completely forgot about this trophy or achievement or whatever it is on Steam. And the only thing keeping them from getting a crazy achievement like that is just the fact that they forgot and haven't logged in. Story, debut game, game innovation. Oh. Oh, jeez.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Let's go downstairs. Nothing down here. Buttons. People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
It's funny. Wow. Where do I go? Back where I came from? The serious room.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could make up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Holy
It's
moly.
not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Oh, geez.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen.
No, let's find out.
You're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence.
Okay. He's just gone now? Hello? What is that noise? It's kind of creepy. What? What? I missed the narrator.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment.
Okay.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the
So he's gone crazy.
end, is never the 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 end, is.
Sorry, buddy. a lot of water leaking. The clock fall? Clock don't even work. Oh, jeez. Where all that water was leaking, it busted and looks like plant or vegetation's coming through. Maybe. Why is this so windy? So I think it's a fair guess to say that narrator is gone now. Whoa. Ladder fell. It's probably been like thousands of years now, if not millions. Birds. It's weird that it's giving off a green light. Oh. Oh, the plants are dead. Creepy. What? Hello? I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's probably been billions by now. Oh, oh. Are we free? Everything's gone. Oh, I can't hit the button anymore. No, I'm stuck. Everything's gone. Is there any other humans in the world? Oh. Oh. Is that the new content?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You don't remember any of that, buddy? Wait, new content?
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
You're not gonna, like, disappear on me again, are you? And go crazy on me.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable. and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, wow. The end is never the
Yes,
end
you
is never
see,
the
isn't this
end is
far
never
superior
the
to a
end is
measly
never the
port with a
end.
few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so
New
many
map.
different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
2. TVA 2, 3, DX, or do, and do, dos, tuo. Taste the sequel, new and tasty. Wait. Oh, I thought they were all gonna have something to do with
Calling
twos.
it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Hey, wait a minute. There's stuff out there I wanted to see. They're back. 2 doors. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. Boring sections of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. More TSP. Better TSP. Win-win 2. Sequential mind share. Paradigm shift. Oh, the color red. It's like a slideshow of a bunch of Stanley Parable 2 stuff. That just like, thanks for attending my meeting. Oh my god.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy
2 eyes,
magic
2
than anything
ears, 2
scientific or
nostrils, 2
logical,
arms, 2
really.
legs. Who took the marker? Me. Scrum, design pitch, break, pitch design. Number 2 chat. That just kind of hurt my brain. Like design pitch, pitch design. You're designing your pitch so that you can pitch the design of your pitch that you designed to pitch. I'm confused. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity, Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Dark Souls 2. Ooh, people disagree with Dark Souls 2. I haven't gotten there yet, but... Crab, the ultimate sequel. Sugar! Hey, Sugar! Hi! What you doing, Shugs? Ah. Shug. Yeah, being a good girl. Oh, thank you for the headbutts. You're so sweet. The way to the show floor. New features. Bus. Oh, sugar is high. No. Don't eat my oatmeal. I'm still charging. Stanley Parable 2. The Reassurance Bucket. Merch. I love merch. The end is never 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 the end. I wonder if this QR reader actually works. Let's find out. Like, I wonder if it actually takes you to merch. Welcome to the official website of the Stanley Parable 2. A sequel, huh? Watch our helpful and informative video to learn more about the Stanley Parable and what the journey of becoming a sequel is all about. If you're more of a prequel sort of person, check out the Stanley Parable. Okay, I'm gonna play the video so you can listen.
See there, Timmy. What's that you're enjoying? Why, it's breakfast, of course. Everyone loves breakfast. But did you know that breakfast is getting a sequel? That's right. It's called Lunch. And critics are raving that lunch will be everything breakfast was and more. With a little luck, we may even get a trilogy series out of it. Say, you know what a sequel is, don't you, Timmy? Why, sequels are the world's way of clinging helplessly to the past. We all want more of the things we love, and we're all afraid of change, which is what makes sequels so popular. New ideas are dangerous, Timmy, and they can lead to early aging. This eager-minded young thinker is just 29 years old. That's why we have sequels, to keep us couched in the familiar and the comfortable. Sequels are the bedrock of a healthy, functional society. And if you look around you, you'll find them everywhere you go. For instance, this man is developing a sequel to the automobile, which we'll call the vertical automobile. It's a useless, impractical invention. And in 2 days' time, the man will be publicly stoned to death for his crimes against.
He invented the plane. The vertical automobile.
Gravity. Not all sequels are heretical nonsense, however. Here's the man who invented breathing, which is the sequel to suffocating and dying a slow death. Even your parents are getting a sequel, Timmy. Their names are Rob and Jessica, and they'll be taking care of you once your original parents are sent back in time to fight a secret war for the government. Sequels can be very fashionable. This young woman is wearing 5 shirts at once, which is the sequel to wearing 4 shirts at once. Look at Becky over there, wearing only 2 shirts at once. Get with the times, Becky. In fact, there is only one single thing in the world that isn't a sequel. It's this. We don't know what it is or why it exists, but it's the prequel from which all sequels are derived. And just like everything else, the Stanley Parable is getting a sequel too. We all know, of course, that it was your favorite game as a child. Don't you remember those long, lazy afternoons you spent playing the Stanley Parable? Watching your precious youth fritter away hour after hour. We've all wasted our childhoods in one way or another, and you were fortunate enough to get to waste yours on the Stanley Parable. But the Stanley Parable came out years ago, and you're not a child anymore. You're a man, which is like the sequel to a child. And as a man, you want manly things, like taxes and cheating at baseball. You need a man's video game, Timmy. And that's why the Stanley Parable 2 will be perfect for you. It's as manly as video games can get. And if you don't believe me, let's look at the burly hunk of a man who's responsible for the game. Here he is, hard at work. His name is Gregory 8-Pack, and he's the cutting picture of raw, virile masculinity. Gregory is what we call the ideas guy, and he has the most important role on the team. The ideas guy tirelessly comes up with interesting concepts and then hands them off to the rest of the developers for the relatively simple job of turning those concepts into reality. For example, he's the one who picked up the phone and declared, "Someone ought to make a sequel to the Stanley Parable." Good work, Gregory. Go ahead and take the rest of the day off. With the hard part out of the way, work on the game can now begin. The game's developers must answer a simple question. What makes a sequel in the first place? Well, it's simple. Sequels are an opportunity to correct the mistakes of their predecessors. We've all made mistakes, and we've all caused harm to someone we love in order to cover up our mistakes. When developing this particular sequel, it's important to start by thinking, what mistakes did the original Stanley Parable make? Well, first off, most of the pornography in the original game was stolen or pirated, and it's time we paid the licensing fees fair and square. Second, the Stanley Parable was catastrophic for this man named Leroy, whose personal information, including home address, social security number, and bank information, were all displayed prominently in multiple locations throughout the game. Although Leroy's money and identity were stolen, the fact remains that his personal information was the emotional core of the game, and absolutely vital to a nuanced understanding of the story. As reparation for the harm we caused him, the sequel will contain a brief and insincere apology to Leroy, tucked deep within the game where it will be difficult to find. Finally, the Stanley Parable made the mistake of leaking too many government secrets about the nature of the Time Wars. Without these intricate details of specific military tactics, the story is likely to make very little sense. But we've decided to remove them from the sequel in the interest of helping the state's efforts. We'll get to you yet, Time Dracula. Now then, it's time to set about constructing the Stanley Parable 2. Game development is a difficult and complex art, one which can only be fully understood by this race of hyper-intelligent child soldiers bred in laboratories. They begin by studying the original...
Oh my god, we're like barely halfway done with the video. Okay. If you want to check it out for yourself, obviously QR code's been up there for a while, or it just takes you to StanleyParable2.com. Taste the sequel. Learn more. And then it just takes you to Stanley Parable when you hit no more, or learn more. There's a trailer, get it on Steam. Sign up for news. I was kind of hoping they would have like a merch shop. Oh well. Kind of cool that they put this in the game, even though there's not a lot to it. I mean, you get the video, but like the video's not super interesting. I don't even know what it's talking about Time Wars and stuff. I don't remember any of that in the game. I saw the new content. Okay. 2. Office decorations. Stanley Parable reassurance bucket. The button that says the number of the player that is playing the game. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Oh my god, that's new.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
That's pretty cool. I want to hear my name. I wonder if it'll call me Brandon or Chris. Say my name.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Nope.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the
I think the
only
narrator
new
just
feature in Stanley
came.
Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
Jim.
Otherwise,
Jim.
soon you'll start to lose
Jim.
all sense
Jim.
of who you
Jim.
actually are.
Jim.
No.
Jim.
I am Jim. First you change my identity and then you take it away from me. I hate you, narrator. I would just want to push buttons. Buttons.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Epilogue. Settings World Champion. I've done that. I have that trophy. I'm allowed in here. I've done it.
I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion trophy. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider and that it'll be accessible from the settings menu. We'll sort out the rest of the details later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every
Is it already in there? There it is. We're jacking that all the way up.
level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
I got that bumpscosity at 1,000. It was at 100. You are the champion of setting all the sliders to all the possible numbers. Please enjoy this room. This is your room. It was made just for you. They will never set the setting sliders to every possible setting. Congratulations, Settings World Champion. Settings World Champion. Mountain. Fax machine. Alright, my bumpscosity is all the way up. Infinite hole. I need... Free new and easy trophy. It just works. I can't believe it's that simple. I want a trophy. Pull the lever, receive your new trophy, no more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken.
Dildos!
I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I
Give me the
guarantee it will be
trophy.
fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Eat my
What else?
dick,
What
narrator.
other
You're
exhibits
always
haven't we
screwing
seen
me
yet?
over. They can check out the infinite hole. It won't end. Wait, what is this? Please no screenshots.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
I mean, the get well someday is what makes sense. Nobody stepniece is going to be there, especially who's 12 years old, so...
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
Oh,
Happy
you
12th
dick.
birthday, stepniece, it is.
Why? Why you do this? Why do?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
The reassurance bucket?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms.
Give me
And to
the
be honest,
bucket.
it's a
I
much more
need it.
convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Yes.
Can you feel it? The
Whoa.
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Nice. Now I get to go on adventures with my bucket.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award
Wait,
if it
what?
isn't already.
They changed it, the button that says Jim. Bucket. Okay, collectibles. Jump circle is at N. I want the jump circle. Infinite hole. The jump circle.
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
My jumps. No. Whoa. It just keeps going. Huh.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Oh, that kind of scared me. Let's do it.
You see, Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Is it infinite though?
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem.
Maybe, but you still lied.
Things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that
No.
works for you, then
No,
go
that
ahead
really
and press the
doesn't make
teleport
sense.
button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll
I'm
just be
staying
up
right
here
here.
when you're ready.
Okay, fine. Psych!
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
Yeah, it
I
sure
couldn't help
did.
but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
I don't know.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow.
Hey, wait a minute.
Okay. Yeah. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I
You're
suspect
taking
that I'm
this away
starting to
from
hit
me.
the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me.
Oh my
Not
god.
only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Uh-oh.
Is the,
Uh-oh.
teleport button not working?
I can't jump.
You sure?
I need a
Well,
jump circle.
I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out.
Goodbye, Stanley. You
Hey,
couldn't
wait a
bear
minute.
to be away from the hole. And
Wait,
now
you
you'll
can't
get
leave
more
me here.
time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole. I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
You can't do
I
this
hope
to
you and the
me.
hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
You can't.